Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Lu. The CPF special account closure is finally going to be here. A lot of people are sending me comments and questions wondering what they should do right now. And I think this is where I want to come out with a video and basically share with everybody what my thoughts are and what are some of the risks that you need to know with various strategies. Let's watch on, shall we? So first and foremost, it's important for us to know that the special account closure only affects those that are 55 years old and above. Those that are below 55 years old, like myself, it doesn't affect you right now. But you need to know what the policy entails, even if you are not 55 years old, so that you know what's coming and you do all the actions today to optimize your return as you head towards the 55 years old deadline. Second, it mainly affects those with special account amount that are above the FRS. Now, what's FRS is the full retirement sum. So if your CPF special account do not have 213,000 in 2025, which is this year, then to be frank, it doesn't really affect you because whatever you have, the government will make sure you get transferred all in entirety into a retirement account. And from there, you'll disburse out to you in CPF Life. To quite a sizable number of people, especially in the 1865 community where your special account is above the full retirement sum. So this will affect you and affect you in a very big way. So to many people, they're just wondering what on earth is SA closure all about? So we do a quick recall what the special account closure is all about for CPF, and then we talk about strategies just to optimize our returns in this new regime. So the existing scheme for any Singaporeans and PR that has a CPF account that is 55 years old and above, there will be four accounts. One is the ordinary account, then the special account, the MediSave account, and at 55 years old, your birthday, the government will create for you a retirement account. The ordinary account returns you 2.5% return, special account returns you 4% return, retirement account returns you 4% return, and the MA returns you 4% return. And there are periods where the interest rates are high, where they give you slightly above 4% return, but let's ignore that because we want to project forward with something what we think is the most likely outcome. So under the new regime, the special account at 55 years old in 2025 will be shut down. Whatever you have in your special account will all be transferred over to retirement account up to the limit of $213,000. For simplicity, for those people with amount below $213,000, most of the money will all go into a retirement account. And those that are above 213,000, which is the full retirement sum, will be transferred to the ordinary account where now it earns only 2.5%. So in a sense, versus the old scheme, you lose an additional interest of 1.5% interest. So at 55 years old, your special account gets shut down and will not see you again. So in short, moving forward at 55 years old and above, everybody will only have three accounts: ordinary account, MediSave account, and retirement account. For your retirement account, you will continue to compound at 4% return all the way to 65 years old or up to 70 years old, where then your CPF life will kick in. And I'll talk more about that. But you cannot touch this amount of money until 65 years old until the CPF life kicks in. And the second thing you need to take note is that whatever you have inside your retirement account, you cannot draw out in one lump sum as well. You can start withdrawing your retirement account as an annuity, means in a sense like an income, like a salary from this paymaster called retirement account at 65 years old. Or if you decide to withdraw it later so that you can get a bigger payout, you can start the payout at 70 years old. So then you allow the 4% return to continue to compound in a bigger number. And this gives us some flexibility on where your withdrawal age is. But at 70 years old, you have to start withdrawing your CPF life from your retirement account. The new scheme allow you to have this thing called enhanced retirement sum, also known as ERS. And the amount is significantly very much higher than what the previous scheme is. From 2025 onwards, the amount of ERS that you can have is $426,000. That's for anyone that's above 55 years old and above in 2025. Now, for those people like myself, I will actually have a bigger sum, and that's because of inflation and increase in cost of living. The CPF board does increase the ERS. So by the time you reach 2027, and this is already an announced number, my ERS will be $456,000. Now, I recognize that not many people who have this number, but for those people who are privileged enough to have this big number, and I'll explain what the strategy is that you can work towards. So how much your CPF life payout would be will depend mainly on three factors. How much money you put into your retirement account at 55 years old. What plans do you choose when you start withdrawing, and then your takeout timing? Which point of time, whether is it 65 or 66 or 70 years old, do you start taking out? All these will affect the payout amount and the CPF life. And I'll walk through this in detail. So for the top up, the earlier you put money into your retirement account, the bigger the snowball will grow until. And of course, the bigger the amount you put in, the bigger the snowball will be as well. It is basically allow power of compounding to build as early as possible at 55 years old. There are three plans to choose. One is escalating, standard, and basic. I will not go into details of all this because it will take forever. I'll just say that most people will take the standard, and I'll probably take the standard package as well. And last is the takeout timing. For those people who have ability to upkeep yourself with your own income, maybe even work until 70 years old, then you may want to delay your CPF payout until 70 years old. For those who cannot wait, you can start your payout at 65 years old, and these were a different amount. So how much amount does retirement account pays through CPF Life? So this is where I'm most interested in, because I've been preaching topping up your special account to as high as possible. And indeed, today I have a very large sum of money in my special account. For myself, as an example, and later you could adjust your own number using the CPF Life calculator in the CPF website. For a person who maximized his ERS at 2025 this year, he could receive $3,330 when he reached 65 years old from CPF Life payout. And that's quite a significant sum. Now, for some people, say, hey, $3,300, what's the big deal? But let's watch how big this deal is. So if we were to calculate, abstractly speaking, if this is like a dividend or a passive income instrument, how much will it be? For someone who has put in $426,000 into the retirement account, you'll get $3,330 at 65 years old every month. So you assume that, he gets it for 12 months, and you divide by 426,000 because this is the principal amount he put in, and he has compounded to amount by 4% over 10 years because 65 years old. He will get a return rate, abstractly speaking. Now, this is the wrong way to calculate, but abstractly speaking, this is about 6.3%, okay, which is a very good dividend rate. Now, someone said, Mr. Lu, you call this a dividend? I know, okay, because you cannot get the principal sum back. I understand, right? But, if you abstractly think of this like a dividend stock or dividend paying instrument, it's a 6% return, which is not bad for me. If you decided, no, I'm not going to treat this as a dividend instrument because, it's not quite the same. Yes, it's not quite the same. Then at the very least, it's a damn good passive income generator. A lot of people say, but Mr. Lu, I'm not going to live long. I will just tell you this, okay? The life expectancy of Singaporeans is about 83 years old. I think the recent number may have dropped to 82 with the COVID pandemic and things like that, but you'll still be 82, 83 years old. But that's for a person at birth. So if you already live to 55 years old, I got a good news and bad news for you. The good news is you're probably going to live until 90 years old. The bad news is also you're going to live until 90 years old, and you got to feed yourself until 90 years old. So yes, you're probably not going to live to 100 years old like what Mr. Lu aims to do, but you're likely going to live to 90 years old, and you better start figuring out at 90 years old what will you get. So if you indeed live to 90 years old, you will live 25 years on CPF Life. CPF Life will give you $3,330 over 12 months, over 25 years. That's a freaking $1 million, 999,000, and that's a lot of money. So in a sense, I put in $426,000 and I get back $1 million. I think it's quite wuhua logically speaking, this is government backed, right? So this company won't collapse. So this is where I also want to encourage everybody, if you can work until 70 years old, which I think all of us should try to work until 70 years old, because it keeps you, engaged in a very productive way. Then start withdrawing your CPF life after 70 years old, the number will turn out even more attractive. If you can defer your payment for your CPF life until you're 70 years old, you will get $4,420 a month. And you spread it over 12 months, you get some big number, divide by what you put in, which is $426,000, and compound it over 15 years, okay? The return rate is even higher at 6.7% or so. Again, this is a wrong way of calculating, but abstractly speaking, this is a very good return. And how much will I get, right? So if I live until 90 years old, we should, if you are at 55 years old already, then you will get $1.06 million, even higher than the previous case. And if you are like Mr. Lu, aiming to live to 100 years old, doing everything necessary to live to 100 years old, it would be 1.6 million freaking dollars. I give you a reason to live until 100 years old. And certainly, I would like to remind everybody, don't just aim to live to 100 years old to get money from CPF Life, but live to 100 years old in a fulfilling way with a great health, right? So do everything that's right. Exercise, eat healthily, have a good social network, don't drink, don't smoke, blah, blah, blah. And you can get $1.6 million by putting in 400 over $1,000. That's 4 times the return. That's a very big number, right? For everybody who's interested, please go to the CPF Life estimator in the CPF board. They will calculate for you, and you can play with different combinations, different plans and things like that, which I will not go in. I think you need to log on with your SingPass and things like that, and you can calculate it pretty accurately. So I'll give you my number. My number will be this number. If I target towards it, I'll top up to full. That's Mr. Lu's strategy, top up full. And that will be $456,000. And if I choose the standard plan, at 70 years old, at the age I intend to work until, in fact, I want to work until 90 years old if I can, but 70 years old is the limit they force you to take out. I'll receive $406,000. So for me, it will be more than $1.6 million if I live to 100 years old. Or it will certainly be more than 1 point something million dollars if I live to 90 years old. So I have a very, very strong incentive to maximize my return. Now, as much as I would like to share with everybody how exciting this plan is, everybody should work towards that. I also want to highlight the risk of this option, which I highly favored. So now that the special account closure deadline is here, and I'm very interested in my strategy, and I've interest everybody in the strategy, I like to highlight some risks as well of this strategy. First of all, the 4% return rate of CPF Life interest is not guaranteed. The 4% return of the special account is not guaranteed, and 4% return of the MediSave account is also not guaranteed. So as a result, the $4,400 that I've projected is also not guaranteed for myself. So the chances of it falling below 4%, I don't think is high. But I want to say and emphasize to everybody, the government has outrightly said it is not a guaranteed number. But I think the likelihood of a major change is not high. We have tasted recently that policy changes can happen and can happen most unexpectedly. Given that we're going to have a long time horizon between now to the time we withdraw our CPF, the PAP government may change the policy again and affect the payout in a very adverse way. It can happen. Of course, it can happen the other way around, but I think it's quite unlikely. And the worst part could be another political party got voted in by the majority of Singaporeans and change the CPF rules as they are more screwed up than PAP or whatsoever. Anything can happen. So policy changes can happen, and we need to know that this risk is there. Next, there is also a liquidity risk, and this is a more real risk. You have got $400 over $1,000 locked up in your CPF or whatever amount is, and there may be a day where you suddenly need a huge sum of money and you can't get it. Maybe you suddenly need to buy a house, or your children get into trouble, or whatever the reason is. You need to take note that the transfer of money to your ERS is irreversible. And this is something that you need to take note of. With all the risks that I've highlighted, I want to give this special warning to everybody, because this is the time where everybody suddenly with a lot of money would like to do a lot of things. Warren Buffett has said this before, to anybody with a hammer, anything looks like a nail. So you suddenly are given a lot of money now in an ordinary account that previously on a special account, you just love to throw money somewhere to get high return. I need to stress this to everybody. Your CPF is your financial safety net. You cannot afford to lose it. At 55 years old and above, you could be 55, 60, 65, 70 years old. Suddenly, all this money come around, and you see, Mr. Lu, Adam Khoo, I don't know who else are making so much money at S&P 500, and you just can't wait to throw money at S&P 500 or stock market or DBS or OCBC, whatever stock whatsoever, and just want to make a hell lot of money, right? At this age, you cannot afford to take too much risk with your financial safety net. I need to say this again, never touch anything that you don't understand. There is a lot of people who wrote to me and say that, Mr. Lu, I don't understand anything about S&P 500, but can you please tell me what to invest, which account should I open, and how should I buy or whatsoever? My answer to them is, if you don't know anything about S&P 500, don't buy, don't invest, right? You cannot touch anything that you don't understand. Never follow any financial influencer, financial guru, Mr. Lu, or anybody without understanding in detail what we do, what we preach, or what we role model whatsoever that you don't understand. Never ever follow anyone to do anything that you don't understand in detail. That's very dangerous. Just because someone do it and you follow it is a formula for a crisis waiting to happen in time to come. All said and done, for those people that the essay closure doesn't affect you, work very hard, save very hard, invest well while we are young. Ideally, if you have the choice, CPF Life should not be your only source of retirement income because there are risks as well that I highlighted earlier, however low the risk is. And let's also accept it, like nothing in this world is without risk. So as we venture into this new policy change, let's go in with eyes open, carefully consider all the options. The strategy that I suggested for myself is probably very good for those people who have huge amount of special account and has got spares on the side as well. But for rest of people, you might think carefully whether this is suitable for you or not. Thank you for watching, and may you do well in your retirement, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.